دایی یه فرصت خوب حالا پشت مدافع خداداد عزیزی توی دروازه گل برای ایران خداداد عزیزی باز هم روی زمین گشت سردار آزمون به توی دروازه سردار آزمون گل به نام آزمون برای ایران
بزنه کریم انصاری گل توی دروازه کریم انصاری دروازه پرتغال باز شد
علی دایی سام توپ توی دروازه
اشتباه حرکت از کوچان نژاد فرصت برای کوچان نژاد توی دروازه گل برای ایران.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Gol Bezan. I'm joined today by Pjanic and Arya. My name's Sina, and today we're talking about the Iran-Bosnia game, the 2-0 win on Thursday. But before we get into the episode, Arya conducted an interview with Haris Makonya, a journalist from Bosnia, and so we'll go to that now.
Joined by Bosnian sports journalist Haris Makonya. Thanks for joining us, Haris. How are you doing?
Hello, everybody listening to the pod. How are you?
Great for having you on. Really appreciate you coming on just to speak about obviously the Iran-Bosnia game yesterday. Before we do that, can you tell me about how people can find you and your work?
Yeah, I post most of my work on Twitter, so my Twitter handle is at Haris Makonya N1. That's something I use for work. I don't use Facebook or any other platforms. Twitter is more than enough for me. So I tweet in Bosnian and Italian and English. So anything that people might be interested in about Bosnian football, about the Bosnian national team, not only in football but other sports as well, feel free to check it out.
Fantastic. Just your thoughts on yesterday's match between Iran and Bosnia. I know you're actually from Sarajevo as well, so obviously that was your home city they were playing in. How was the game for you?
Well, I've seen the match on TV because of the strict protocols for COVID-19. I couldn't actually attend the match in person at the stadium, but I feel that I have a better perspective watching the match on television than live. And I didn't, from Bosnia's side, I didn't like what I saw because days before the match was scheduled to start, we were getting information that Bosnia was going to play with essentially a B team. Not a lot of players that usually play in the national team were going to play in this match. Dusan Bajevic, our national team coach, wanted to have fresh legs for the upcoming matches against the Netherlands and Italy. And I knew that there were going to be problems creating in the match versus Iran because some of the players that played last night have never actually played with one another before. So with that in mind, I thought that this was not going to be an easy game, but it was for Bosnia. It was even worse than I expected because we were not favorites looking at the FIFA rankings. We're at number 51. Iran is I believe 29th, which speaks to a level of quality at least in some part of the two national teams. But I saw absolutely no energy, no will to press high, which is something that the national team of Bosnia and Herzegovina does. Usually they press you high to get the possession of the ball and try to create something and always keep you on the back foot. I saw none of that. The defense was absolutely shocking in my opinion because some of the guys that were playing last night were out of position half the time or even more than half the time. And it's no surprise really that Iran managed to quite comfortably, I might say, win this match 2-0. The main thing that we've been missing is someone in the front to help in the build-up, someone like Edin Dzeko, who is sadly COVID-19 positive and had to stay in Rome. But I don't even know if he was going to play anyway because of these other matches that I was talking about previously. But we were missing someone that was going to go between the lines and try to create a pass that was going to create a chance to score a goal. I believe that Bosnia, the first actual shot on goal that we had, it wasn't even on goal, but it was a shot generally, was in the 85th minute or something like this. So not a good display from the Bosnian national team. The results have been really bad under this national team coach Dusan Bajevic. He's been at the helm for 6 games. We've won none of those. We have 2 draws against Italy and the Netherlands in the Nations League, and the 4 matches, including one that was going to send us to the Euro playoff finals. The Nations League playoffs finals, sorry, was one against Northern Ireland that we also lost on penalties. So it's been a slow, steady decline for the national team of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and the trend seems to be continuing and not slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, perfect. I think you can say that Iran got the revenge after the 2014 World Cup.
Yes, the match, we've played 7 times, I think, up until now, and we've lost 5 matches. We've drawn once, but the match that really counts, we won in 2014.
Breaking Iranian hearts just when they'd started to beat again.
Yes, of course. Maybe we can replay that game in the next World Cup. We'll see.
Yeah, hopefully so. But the way the Bosnians playing, I don't think so.
Okay, so the next games for Bosnia are between with Netherlands and Italy. How do you think they're gonna go?
Well, I've just finished an hour ago recording an interview with one of our national team players, Amer Gojak, who played 45 minutes in last night's match. The words are words of positivity, and the messages are messages of being hopeful to get a result. But I believe that the players and the fans are quite disillusioned with this generation of players. I do not believe that we have enough to get away with 3 points either with the Netherlands or with Italy. If we play really well, I believe that we can draw one of those 2 games. But having no Edin Dzeko up front, again with the COVID-19 situation, other 3 players that were tested yesterday and confirmed positive to COVID-19, I do not think that we have the right personnel to go and chase a positive result in the next 2 matches. The national team coach Dusan Bajevic, he says that he is hopeful that they are going to make it, but increasingly the confidence of the players and of the fans of Bosnia and Herzegovina is getting more and more down. So I don't know if I have to give you some kind of prediction. I believe that we lose both games, but I hope that we get away with something in the end.
Well, we wish you the best of luck in those next 2 UEFA Nations League.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming on, Bezan. I really appreciate your time.
No problem.
So, Pejman, what do you think of the game?
Well, where should I start? Maybe from the lineup. I was happily surprised that a lot of those players that I wanted to start started, such as Abedzadeh, Mohammadi, and Maharami at the same time. And most of all, at front, we had Qolizadeh and Kaveh Rezai, because they start more or less every game in Belgium with Charleroi. So it's important to use that momentum in the national team as well. So from a standing point of the lineup, I couldn't ask for more, to be honest. Maybe Majid Hosseini should maybe at start, but at least get some playing time. The game in general, I'm sure we will get into the details, but I think the first half was, of course, the more entertaining one, the better one, although Iran scored both goals in the second half. It was like a friendly usually is. The game kind of gets, ruined more or less due to all the changes. Iran had a couple of changes that they had to do due to injury, and the Bosnia as well. That's always, quite worrying when it's a friendly game. But I must say, I'm all in all pleased with Iran. I think they tried to play some attacking football. It was maybe a bit worrying to see that our midfield wasn't in its best shape. As Atalay coming in changed that somehow, some bit, but we still got a lot of work to do there. But all in all, Iran should, Skocic, the coach, should be pleased about how the players performed.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think a lot of people, there was a lot of good performances, a lot of good nuggets we could take away from that game. I thought, Said Azatollah stood out for me, but we can talk about that a bit later. Arya, what did you think of the Bosnia team? Did they like line up how you expected? Did they play how you expected? What did you think?
Yeah, actually, I was surprised by how poorly they played. I mean, you saw Harris was talking about it. He was very disappointed in their performances from first and second half. They really never got going. They didn't get any shots on target, as he said, until the 85th minute. Pjanic couldn't really get himself into the game, even though he started. I wasn't expecting him to start at all. They obviously had Amir Goyak, who's a very experienced player in the Bosnian national team. He couldn't get involved in the game. But they didn't have enough. I mean, I was really disappointed. I thought they would really give Iran a challenge. I was speaking in the preview about how, the possibility that their players will be fitter than us because they've already started their seasons because they're playing in Europe. But that didn't seem the case. Iran seemed more up for it, even though Iran had only had, I think it was 3 training sessions together. So, with all that being considered and, a new coach, only Scocic's second game in charge, it was a brilliant performance. Also, the thing to speak about is the formation we'll get onto just now. But, with a new formation as well, once again, it looks like Skocic knows what he's doing in terms of he wants to really understand his players, which is quite commendable.
Yeah, I fully agree with you, and I think it's a different sort of coaching style. I think when we had Carlos Queiroz, he didn't play as much to the players. He played more to a system in his mind, and that was a very defensive system. So, yeah, it's quite refreshing to see something a bit different. I mean, obviously we're used to the Carlos Queiroz sort of era, but you know what? I think let him try this structure, see how it works. You actually predicted a loss, I remember, in the last episode, so it's pretty good. We got the 2-0 win. I predicted 2-1. I think Pejman did 2-1 as well.
I also I didn't think that they would even start their main players like Goyak and Pjanic, and they did. So I mean, again, fantastic performance from Iran.
You talk about the formation, Arya. Pejman, what did you think about the formation and the formation change when Ezatollah came on? Because obviously started off with a 3-4-3 and then shifted to a 3-5-2 when Ezatollah came on.
I've said this many times in the pod before. At the end of the day, it's just numbers. The modern football of today, you're not stuck with one kind of system, one kind of playing style. During one game, the players must, or they're at least used to change formation depending on how the game develops. So, but nevertheless, we had three defenders, and that's maybe it works against Bosnia that really couldn't get their game going, but I think Iran will get punished against better teams that can take advantage of that, and then makes it all of a sudden from 3-5-2 to 5-3-2 if players like Ehsan and Milad Mohammadi and Sadegh Moharrami all have to play defenders all of a sudden. So, and maybe Kanani should he be the leader In the defense, I don't know. I don't think that will work out when Iran plays against stronger opponents. So we're so used to this K-Rush system of what was it, like 4-2. What was it? I don't even remember, but it was
Yeah,
quite
4-3-3.
4-2-3-1, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
4-5-1, 4-3-3.
Yeah, I mean, fluid midfield was
Yeah,
defending.
4-2-3-1, in my opinion, was how K-Rush
Yeah.
played. To be honest, I don't give much thought about the numbers. I'm just pleased that a lot of the good players that I wanted to see played and show that they're versatile and they're available to play in different kind of formations. So let's try that a couple more games and see how it develops.
You talked about Kanoni being potentially the leader in the centre back sort of partnerships that's developing. Obviously, throughout the past, we've had so many big leaders in the Iranian defence, and I'm wondering who is going to step up and be the leader in the defence. Obviously, Purali Ganji could also be a choice, but I mean, Arya, what did you think about the defending during the whole game?
Well, obviously it was a back three, and it looked good for the full 90 minutes of the match in terms of keeping the clean sheet. Obatzada, first of all, was fantastic. You know, his distribution was unbelievable. You know, he's such a great distributor of the ball. I don't think people realize how good he is with his feet. His passing's wonderful. The back three was great in terms of keeping a clean sheet, but also Purali Ganji playing that sweeper role. I think it suits him very well. You know, I think that's the kind of position you want to see him play, where he's got a bit more freedom on the ball. Obviously, he used to be a midfielder, so you can even play a bit higher up sometimes, bring the ball to defence. So he was more comfortable there. You're speaking about Kanoni. Look, Kanoni had a good game yesterday, as did Khalilzadeh, two players that I'm not a big fan of. Maybe not so much to do with their playing style, more towards their attitude. I don't really like Khalilzadeh's attitude. Kanoni, I feel like it's just a wee bit too slow on a transition. You saw that in the Japan game, the semi-final of the Asian Cup. He got beaten, time and time again for pace. So he's a good player, but I don't know long term if he is the right guy. But the back three worked. So I'm happy with that. Obviously, I'd love to see Majid Hosseini play, but he didn't. He has not played for ages, so he doesn't deserve it.
Well, who do you think out of our defense, sticking with you, Arya, who do you think out of the defense at the moment could be that leader that Pejman was talking about?
Well, Purali Ganji for me is the guy. He has so much experience, first of all, playing in various countries around the world, China, Belgium, sees Qatar. He's played in various clubs. He's got that experience. He's been at the World Cup. He's been at 2 Asian Cups. He's the guy, and I think he could be a captain for the national team as well. Khalilzadeh obviously is the oldest out of the lot, but for me, Khalilzadeh, he has that idiotic attitude that, as a fan of the national team, it worries me. But I hope that he continues the way he's done so far in the last 2 games. He's kept his mouth shut, so that's good. But at the same time, you never know what's going to happen with him. But I'm glad, I'm really glad he left Persepolis as well. I think Persepolis was a burden on his career. Not in a bad way. He was obviously playing well for them, but he wasn't quite hitting potential the way he should be. I think he should have been in Europe a lot earlier on in his career. So yeah.
Well, on the subject of extreme personalities, Pejman, we spoke about Ramin Rezayan in last episode, and obviously the absence from this squad. Did you think the fullbacks that we played in this game, obviously Moharami and Milad Mohammadi were playing, for me they were decent. For me they performed well. What did you think?
I think Moharami maybe hadn't had the best game so far in the national team. For me, he struggled. Maybe he was a bit nervous because this was like finally he getting a chance to play. Maybe it was something else. I think Maharami could have done better, to be honest. But I still think that in these kind of games where Iran plays some attacking football, we're supposed to have like these speedy wingers. That's what Ramin is good at. And he's also, I don't want, I'm starting to sound like a fanboy of Ramin, but he's been decent in defending as well. So I still think that he should get called up. I still think that he should be in the squad and getting some play time. So beating Bosnia with Milad, with Ehsan, with Sader, that's good. But I think we need a couple of more players there for the competition at least.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I think that for those fullback positions, it's looking a bit light. I think there needs to be a few more players pushing for that because I think, Milad Mohammadi is probably our best player there for me. If Ramin Reza isn't in the squad, but I mean, it'd be interesting. I just want to give the spotlight more to the goalkeeper. We kind of skipped it out, but for me, Abadzadeh, as you said, Arya, he had a really good game. I thought he had a really good game, even though he didn't see that much action. When he did, handled it really well, handled it really professionally, really confident. Distribution was really good. I didn't actually expect the distribution to be that good, but it was, first class for me. What did you think about Arya?
Well, like I said before, I think Abadzadeh is a very, very high-level distributor of the ball. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, Pasha, the guy, obviously, who's been part of our podcast for a while, he went to school with Abadzadeh, and he even said to me that when they were in the same school team together, Abadzadeh was more of a midfielder back then. He played in midfield for his school team, and he was one of the best, in that period. So he has the ability with his feet. We know that, and he's a good goalkeeper as well. He makes saves, which is very, very, very important.
Yeah, I thought he had a really good game, and it'd be interesting to see in the next game what's going to happen with the goalkeeper position, because obviously Beran Van will probably be the first choice, but Abadzadeh is definitely giving the manager a run for the decision, because I don't think it'll be an easy decision for him because they're both top-notch goalkeepers. So it'd be interesting. Just a quick from you, Pejman, what do you think about the goalkeeper position?
For me, Abadzadeh I think is better than Behraman, to be honest, and that's because he makes not lesser mistakes than Behraman. Behraman can be awesome and do amazing saves, but his timing in the air, despite being so tall, is not where it should be. Maybe him playing now in Antwerp, at least training in a European club, have improved that, but he's not that young. It's not so easy to improve at his age as well. But for me, Abadzadeh is a smarter goalkeeper. I would like to see him play in the World Cup qualifiers as well. As long as Behraman isn't playing, he haven't played for I don't know how long. It's been since he was in Persepolis. So this is maybe a message from Skocic to Behraman. If you're not playing in the at club level, somebody else will take your spots. And for Abadzadeh's sake, I hope he plays. For Behraman's sake, I hope he'll get some playing time in Antwerp and have a good fight on the first spot in the national team. That will be fun.
But don't sleep on Niaz Mand either. He's a top goalkeeper. I like him a lot.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think we're pretty solid in that position. I like our goalkeeper positions. I'm maybe striker. I'm also quite confident with, but out of all the positions, I really like our goalkeepers currently. So how about we go on to midfielders now? So yeah, we saw a different formation, obviously, but the midfielders, for me, they weren't too bad. So we had Nurullahi and then Haj Safi, and then obviously Ezatollahi came on later on in the game. before we talk about Zalatollahi, what did you think about the midfield, Arya?
The midfield, I think Nurullahi played a decent game. He did what he had to do. It was tough for him because he was very much alone in there. I don't think Safi was helping him. Safi plays like a 50-year-old man. You know, he plays like a 50-year-old man who's never played a game in his life. Pejman, you're not on mute, mate.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So Safi just looked so slow and laboured on the ball. He made one tackle in the first half. You know, it was just like, why? Like, why is a guy with 111 caps playing like this? You know, and why is he being allowed to play every single game and keep the captain's armband when he's not playing like a leader? You know, but Nurulai played well. Izzatullahi came on, he was fantastic. You know, immense physicality. The assist for Qaidi was, you know, world class. You know, first touch, you know, into his path, and then a touch and a hit. And then Karimi, I thought Karimi came on and did really well actually in the last minutes of the game. I think he came on, he brought the tempo down a little bit and kind of kept the game a bit steady. Noor Afghan for me isn't the player. He's not the kind of player the national team needs. Noor Afghan is he's a crazy guy. You know, he's a bit crazy.
What do you mean by that?
He likes to get stuck in. He likes to get stuck in. He likes to tackle. He's one of those guys who he'll get a red card if the game is tight. He'll get a red card. You know, he's a bit crazy. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Noor Afghan personally. One of the reasons why he went to Belgium and he didn't play many games there was because I don't feel like he fit the system at all.
Well, you talk about Haj Safi, but I mean, I'd still love to give him the benefit of the doubt because he has been a really good servant for Team Melli, and for me, I mean, yeah, he didn't perform too well in the Bosnia game, but if you think back to the World Cup, I still think there's still games in him in the future. But I don't know, maybe you are right. Maybe if in the next few games he doesn't perform, then I don't know what will happen. But even still, I like him because he's a very versatile player. He can play obviously left back, and he's pretty much played in a lot of different positions. So I think he's a good presence to have in the dressing room as well. But yeah.
Sina, you're making a good point. Because let's be honest, we don't know what Skocic told Ehsan before the game, how he's supposed to play, his role, he's supposed to play, his role, his responsibilities. You know, sometimes when you give players some instructions that they can't handle well, or at least it doesn't show how they're handling it, it's hard to give them, you know, being so critical against them. I personally would like to see the game again and maybe just focus on Ehsan, because in my mind he's a smart player. It's not so often that he isn't on the right spot, but maybe sure he get fooled and maybe he every now and then get a yellow card that's really unnecessary. But I would like to see the game one more time, just focusing on Ehsan and see what was his role in the game.
Well, the problem I've got with him isn't so much positioning. You know, he knows how to position himself. He's played 111 games for the national team. There's no doubt about his positioning and all that. The thing I don't like about him that really annoys me is he overhits every single pass. He hits it so hard. Yeah. It's like, mate, just hit it a little bit less, man.
He loves the long passes as well.
He loves to hit the ball overly hard, you know, like long shots. Like, you know, you're not Roberto Carlos, mate. You know what I mean? Chill out. Like, you know, take a bit off the passes. That's the only thing. That's the only criticism I have from a technical standpoint. He does tend to overhit everything. It really puts people under pressure because he loses the ball. Another thing with him is, like I say, he's lost a lot of pace, you know, over the last year. I don't know what happened when he went to Tiraktor, but his pace is gone. You know, that's my issue from a physical standpoint. That's my issue with him.
Yeah, I mean, he is getting to that age where pace will drop off. I think that's just natural, but we'll see what happens. Like, I still think he's got a few more games in him for Team Melli for sure. Whether he lasts until the next World Cup, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But But even still, I think there might be a place for him. But moving on, I want to focus on Ezatollahi for a little bit, Pejman, because last podcast I asked you, should Ezatollahi have featured in the squad, and you said yes, and I think we would all agreed. Did the performance that he did in the Bosnia game, has that solidified his position even further?
Why not? Because the competition on that spot it's that difficult, like compared to the goalkeeping position that we talk about and the strikers as well. It's Nurullahi, it's Omid Murafkan, maybe some other player that can play there but usually doesn't. So yeah, I mean, he showed himself that as long as he can play regular club football, he should start in a national team as well. And this is also a good move maybe by Skocic, showing that if you play regular football, it's much higher chance for you to play regular in the national team as well. As we saw, he is a smart player. He can help the team a lot, but for me, he's not 100% sure that he should start every game. He needs to keep improving. He needs to be consistent, because that's his main problem. He's not consistent enough in playing time. And let's hope this time in Denmark really have helped him, make him a smarter player, making more smarter choices, and helping the national team at the end.
Do you think he shouldn't be featured in your opinion? He shouldn't feature as a regular starter. Well, because he isn't consistent. Where do you think that comes from? Do you think it's sort of like from the mental side? Do you think it's just because he hasn't been playing as many games? He's moved quite a few different clubs in different countries, different playing styles. Like, why do you think it is?
Well, I think you nailed it. He played in a lot of clubs, but he have never played an entire season in one club. At least when I was playing, I mean being regular, or at least having some play time. And he's like 23 years or something, 24, I don't know. And the last 4 years, the amount of games that he played in club level are too low. It's not enough. It's not enough today to just be a good player and a talent. The best, in my opinion, the best way to improve is to play football games, not just train every now and then, or maybe play with the second squad so you get some playing time. If you want to be among the best, and if you want to show yourself among the best, then you have to play among the best. And now he's finally doing that in Denmark. But I just hope that this doesn't make his ego become too big, which I believe it have done in the past, and that's why maybe he haven't really succeeded. I don't know if because of the fame or whatever that's made it too difficult for him, and bad luck with some injuries. You know what I think? I think he needs like a mental coach, probably.
Yeah,
The
that's why I asked.
he got. Yeah,
that's why I asked for the mental side, because think about it as well. He's so young, but he's played in so many different countries, even at his young age. Like he played in Iran, he played in England, played in Russia, across like different teams in Russia, Belgium, and now he's in Denmark. Like he's moved across so many different countries in such little time. Yeah, Spain as well. Atletico Madrid. Yeah, you're right. It's just like he hasn't solidified a position. He hasn't solidified a place. I think the consistency comes from that. What do you think, Arya?
I think I agree with both of you. He's a very good player. But I don't know if you saw when he came off the bench when he was coming on to get subbed on. If you'd seen him, like just the physique of the man, 6'3", absolute giant, and he came on. The first thing he did was to win the ball. Counter attack, obviously a bad pass, but second goal, great pass for Mahdi. We know the talent he has. He is unbelievable when he's on form. And in the World Cup, he was fantastic as well. He really was, and we missed him in the Asian Cup. So as long as he stays fit, he stays eager. Stays eager is the most important thing. He has to be available all the time, as a midfielder. I'm excited for him and Nurullahi as a midfield tandem. I think they'll do really well in the national team. I like Karimi as well. I think Karimi is a very good midfielder. So I'm excited for the future.
Yeah, I think Ezatolahi, for me, when he came on, he actually changed the game massively because he was a leader in midfield. He was demanding the ball. He was already a few steps ahead of everyone else, like thinking of his next pass, and it really changed the game in my opinion. Quickly on Arya, just building on your point, how was Nurullahi for you? Did you like him? Did he play well?
Yeah, I said before, Nurullahi was fine. He did his job. He made a couple of mistakes. People will be, a bit critical of him for that. But as I said, I think he wasn't helped by Hoy Safi in that midfielder. I thought he was decent. I thought he did his job.
Okay, cool. So moving on from the midfielders, going on to the wingers. I didn't mind. They didn't stand out massively for me. Ami didn't stand out massively for me. Golizada definitely did. I liked his performance. We talked about him in previous podcast. I don't know, Pejman, that you highlighted him before as well. Did he stand out for you?
Yeah, I think he did. He made some good runs. He made some good attempts. He could have scored a goal. He made a couple of mistakes as well, which is not unusual. Let's not forget, although we like him and praise him a lot, he haven't played that many games in the national team. He's still new. He still maybe wants to show himself more than he should. Sometimes the best way to play is to not make it too difficult and wanted to impress everybody. But in general, I think his partnership with Kave can only get better in the national team and can only help Iran in the national team. So that would be lovely to see. Vahid Amiri, he did a couple of good things as well. He's like this kind of player that's sometimes you wonder what he's doing on the field, and sometimes you're so amazed by his abilities. He unfortunately injured the goalkeeper. It was an accident, but he almost scored a goal there as well. He's a hardworking guy, maybe a good player to have in the squad. When the rest of the players come back, I don't know if there will be any room for Vahid, but he got my respect, to be honest. He got it.
Yeah, I liked Vahid. He wasn't bad. Golizada definitely stood out for me. He's one of these players that I really like watching because he's just one of these players that you expect he could change the game in an instant. If there's a stalemate or a deadlock, just his skill could differentiate the game, and that's why I like having him in the squad as that player. Just a quick word from you, Arya, about the midfielders. Did they impress? Sorry, the wingers. Did they impress you also?
Golizada, for me, played well in the first half specifically. I just felt, playing on the left wing, it was a little bit isolated. I don't think he really was able to get into the game on the left side. I don't think he had as much impact, especially in the second. I don't think he had much impact in the second half that he could have had. He obviously got injured as well. But he did well. He was trying, as you said, he was trying. He was trying to develop the game going forward, but he didn't really have much impact overall in the goals. Vahid Amini obviously got the assist for Kaveh Rezai's goal. Good press.
نظر به زمین اومد کاور رضایی همین ثانیه نخست نیمه دوم و کارو تمام میکنه. هنوز یک دقیقه تمام نشده در شروع نیمه دوم. چه تغییری، چه اتفاقی و
good pass into his feet and then a lovely finish with his left foot. Amiri, people were saying on Twitter how, why are we complaining about him being called up and why is he not getting a chance he deserves? For me, Amiri's a guy who, like Pedro said, he is a hard-working player. He is very experienced. He is a very good person as well. If you ever listen to his interviews, he's a very well-spoken guy. He's a good guy to be around in the camp. But for me, I just don't know if he has the quality, That's the problem. I feel like we have players of higher quality than him. For me, I think Mehrad Mohammadi is a better player than Vahid Amiri. And they're both left-footed. They both play roughly the same position. I think Mehrad Mohammadi is better, and he could have been called up. Shahab Zahidi can play in that position. A little bit deeper behind the striker, and he's left-footed. And then you've got players even further back in the pecking order. Mohebi was injured for this game, couldn't get called. Got Torabi. I don't see how he makes it to the national team. Yes, people are saying, someone said he's a Matuidi type player, where he's a guy you have in a squad or in the lineup for the work rate, but I don't feel like he has the work rate as much as he used to in the 2018 World Cup under Carlos Queiroz when he was playing in midfield. But now for Persepolis, he plays as a striker next to Ole Kassir or if it's Abdina. So he plays as a striker because he doesn't have that work rate anymore, in my opinion. So I don't know if he's that kind of player as the one we're kind of looking for. For me, Nurullah, he's that kind of player who gives you the work rate. So yeah, he was all right.
Yeah, he's another. I guess
But
it's
he didn't have a good
similar.
game.
Yeah, go on.
He did play a good. I'm not gonna deny it. He played well yesterday.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, it's the same situation as I guess you could say Haj Safi, where, I guess they're losing. Like the thing that makes Amiri stand out is his work rate. That's the thing that differentiates him. That's the thing that people love about him. But I guess once he ages and that goes away, and then you got players such as Torabi and the other players that you said in the pecking order. I don't know how long that will last, and it's the same sort of question, really. On the subject of wingers, Ghaidi came on.
عزت‌اللهی قائدی با پای چپ میزنه گل دوم. چقدر قشنگ زد این گل رو. قائدی بدون مکس. چقدر توپگیری عالی داشت عزت‌اللهی و مزد تلاش و انگیزه بالای خودش رو این بازیکن جوان میگیره در فرصت کمی که داشت گل دوم رو زد. چه حریف خوبیه این بوسنی برای ما. بوسنی 0 ایران 2.
Very nice goal. Took it down, half volley, right in the corner, back at the nets. It was a really nice finish. What did you think about Pejman?
Sorry, guys, I had to unmute my mic. It was a nice goal. It was a goal that a goal scorer needs to score. He have a great season in Esteghlal this year. He's had like a kind of bad boy attitude. I don't know him personally, so I don't know anything at all. He had been in some trouble in the past, but it seems like this year he's got his shit together. He's been able to perform the way that everybody expects from a young talent. He's fun to watch. Could he play? I mean, for me, Kaveh, Mehdi Taremi, Sardar Azmoun, they all are above him. So it's maybe like him and Karim Ansari Fahd fighting for a position somewhere there. The good thing about Qaidi is his age. He can stay in the national squad for a long time if he continues like this. Although he's like a small player, he doesn't seem to have any muscles. He's a fast player. He's fun to watch. I think they call him like the little Neymar or something like that. He's got a good technique as well. I would like to continue seeing him progress. Maybe he won't get called up for the World Cup qualifiers, but I'm sure he will do great with Esteghlal, and hopefully not too far, in maybe let's say 1 year from now, he will go to Europe. That's where he can take that step to becoming a regular in the national team.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. There's so much room for him to develop. Like, he's so young, and as you said, he is a very small sort of figure. Like when I first saw him, it just looks about 12. The guy, he looks so young. But yeah, I think he's like 18, 19, around that. And yeah, I think there's definitely room for him to grow. Definitely, just because, well, yeah,
I think
physically,
he's like 20,
he's younger.
21
Yeah,
something.
21.
I think it's 20. Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
21.
he looks
He looks a lot
younger
younger.
than he is.
He's married.
Yeah, he's got this
Got married last
boyish.
year.
Oh, mashallah.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
So
Yeah, fair enough. But he's still got a lot of time. Still got a lot of time. What did you think about it, Arya?
Yeah, Goity's look. He's such a talented player, supremely skilled. He's got great shot on him, left foot, right foot. For me, he has to go to Europe. Simple as that. You know, you can't stay in Estella for this season. Okay, one more season, but next season, if he doesn't go to Estella, he comes into the same territory as Torabi for me. You know, a player who failed to progress in his career. I don't want that to happen to Goity. I think Goity's better than Torabi. First of all, I like Torabi as well, but I think Goity's got more end product. But I think Goity has to go to Europe. Simple as that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think pretty much everyone would agree with you, because otherwise he'll just stagnate. He'll just stay the same. He needs to develop to become a regular, because otherwise he'll just compete with the likes of Ansari Fard. So on the strikers, obviously Kavareza got his start. Sadar Azmoun wasn't playing. Pejman, what did you think about his performance?
well, he scored a goal, didn't he? And his goal was a typical Kave goal, in my opinion. If you see his goal, how he does him in Charleroi, this looks like a typical goal in Belgium for me. He's still got room to improve in the national team. I think him and both Kolizadeh, they did good, but I do believe that sometimes they maybe were a little bit too eager. Maybe they made a couple of wrong choices when they should have paused the shot and they take the shot instead. But maybe the shot would have been a goal, and it was a right decision. So you can't really blame them for that. But Kave, in my opinion, is a guy that definitely should be in the squad, and he should, in my opinion, after. I don't know. This is the thing. Depends on how Skocic wants to play. Does he want to play Azmoun at front and Taremi maybe on the left? Then maybe you have Kave as the first substitute. But if you want to have one striker only, and then you have Azmoun, then Taremi, then Kave, then we got a problem. Or maybe Kave can play on the left or right side as well, because he's versatile and he can play in different positions. He's too good to not be playing in the national team, but we have never had this problem where we had too many good strikers. It's you remember for World Cup 2014, we were so happy that we found Reza Ghouchanejad. We're like, oh yeah, finally a striker. But now we have like 3-4 really good strikers. Everybody playing in Europe. So this is a good headache for Skocic, I believe.
Yeah, it's strange because, as you said, 2014 World Cup, Ghouchanejad came pretty much out of nowhere because he was obviously played for the Netherlands before, and then he got called up to the Iranian national side. But we were missing a striker; he was the only one. But now, Skocic has got a real big headache because Reza was playing like he's got a point to prove. In my opinion, he was being quite risky in his playing. He was going for shots. He was, I think he wants to give the manager a headache because he knows that it's his place on the line. But Ardia, what did you think about his performance?
He'd only scored one goal for the national team before this game. I think it was against Sierra Leone. That was when we played them, and then I think it was like against their U23 team or whatever it was. So he was.
I was actually on that game. Sorry. It was in the stadium. It was before the 2018. It was a strange team. It wasn't on the 23, but it was one funny thing about that game.
Team.
One funny thing about that game is that the Sierra Leoneans one time during their camp in Iran refused to leave the hotel because they hadn't get paid or something like that. And it's like it's good to see that. Not good to see, but there are other federations, other federations other than Iranian that are doing bad things. But if I'm not mistaken, and this somebody maybe on Twitter can help me with this one, it was something that the Iranian Federation had done wrong. Maybe I believe that Iran was supposed to pay Sierra Leone to play in that game because we couldn't find any other team that wanted to play us. So they were supposed to get paid from the Iranian Football Federation, and they didn't, and somehow they refused to leave the hotel. And there was also some issues where the bus from the hotel didn't come, so they have to like walk from the hotel to the stadium for training. It was a mess, but what can you say?
Only in Iran. That's what happens. But
Yeah.
But yeah, did you want to say something before we move on?
So basically, Reza, he scored his goal. He scored his goal, took it well. Missed a good chance in the first half. Could have easily put it away, in my opinion. Similar kind of position to Koscielny's goal against South Korea. And yeah, other than that, he played well. He was eager for another goal for the national team, and he got it. So I'm happy for him, but I don't think he'll be a starter for the national team. I think Taremi and Osman are the first choice strikers. I think Taremi will play a little bit deeper than Osman, maybe as a winger, like Pejman said, but I think Reza will be the first substitute. And I think Ansari Fard's time the national team is over.
Yeah, I actually agree. I think it's done for him. I don't think. I mean, yeah, he just made a move, but I don't really see his.
Well, I mean,
I don't see his role anymore.
He did okay, but he only came in to play this game because Taremi and Osman weren't there.
That's what
I don't think he's any better than Shahab Zahedi, for example. And at this moment in time, I think that he's a better player than him. I also think that Ali.
Oh man, that's a harsh one. I don't agree with you. I think Karim is better. I think Karim at his height is really, really good. And I think it was a smart move for him to move back to Greece, a top club, playing in the Europa League. So he is trying to get a position, a place in the, at least in the squad. Karim he is really good, to be honest. I like Karim. I think he's good one-on-one. He's a classic striker. And he can also give. He's one of those players, to be honest, that gives Skocic a headache. So don't count him out.
The one player that I think that we need to be looking at for the future, to maybe even compete with Kove is Sayad Manish.
I fully agree.
He is the top guy to look for.
I fully agree with you. Yeah, I first time I saw him play, it was class. I think we were saying in our group chat, like we were talking about him in our group chat. He's such a good prospect, but obviously didn't feature in this match. But so should we move on from the strikers? Have you guys got any more points you want to say about Carl Rezli and Saifard?
No, I think we can go to Twitter questions now.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So the first question comes from Omid Golshiri. On Twitter, tag is OmidG9. He asked, do you think the 3-4-3 formation works well for Team Melli, or was this just a one-time test? Should we continue with it? Obviously, the last game he played with a 4-3-1-2. Then he moved to a 4-2-3-1. So, he's played, I think it was like almost 4 formations in the last 2 games. What formation, basically, do you guys think should be Sina?
I think this formation worked, actually, but it's difficult to say because they're friendlies and the intensity isn't that high for the formation to get tested as much. But yeah, I quite like this formation. Out of all the ones that we've played, I like the 3-4-3. It worked for me with these players, but I don't think we should be setting our hearts on just one formation, because I think every game it's going to change depending on who is playing in that game. So, for instance, like if once Azmoun and Taremi come back, this formation, I'm not sure actually. Maybe he'll play the same. I'm not quite sure. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, and Pejman, obviously, I know you said there's just numbers for you.
Yep.
For me,
just numbers. Yeah, I already answered this question.
The biggest problem with a at the back formation is, and we're speaking with some of the boys, that the attacking talent will be, you'll see less of them in a three at the back, because then so let's just say you have 3-4-3, right? You have two wing backs already taking the two wide positions. That means you've only got to play two wingers and a striker. So that means you can, let's just say you play Javanbakhsh, Tamijani and Osman up front. That means you've got Gorizad on the bench, Godus on the bench, Qaidi on the bench, Rezai on the bench, and Far on the bench possibly. That means it's like 5 or 6 attacking players on the bench. Then you're losing all that talent. For me, we have to make use of that talent, especially against Iraq and Bahrain, teams that we can beat easily. So I don't think that the 3-4-3 formation is the best, but it's one to look at when we're playing a little bit more defensive. Okay, next question comes from Sam.
Arya, when have Iran ever beaten Iraq and Bahrain easily?
I was going to say Iraq was always a tough game.
Guys, it's going to be an easy game. Trust me. It's going to be an easy game.
Iraq has never been easy.
The next question comes from Someone Dige asks, how sustainable is a performance like this through to the Iraq and Bahrain game? So how important is this friendly coming up for the two matches against Iraq and Bahrain? Pejman.
Super important. Everybody hates these friendlies that are happening now, partly due to the COVID. So a lot of players can't even travel and play, and there are too many unnecessary friendly games. For Iran, that's not the case. Iran haven't played, as you said, this is like our second game in a year or something like that, almost. So with a new coach. So it's really important for him to see his players when it matters the most, when they're playing. Although it's a friendly, I think you could see how the Iranian players played it. They didn't see this as a friendly. They saw it, as you guys also mentioned, a chance to show themselves for Skocic, because they know that with a new coach, there's a new possibility. They can play or they can get benched. So yeah, really important for Skocic to finally be able to see his players. I think he still needs a couple more games to see what he actually wants to do, and his first really important game would be a World Cup qualifier, and that's quite soon. But for me, it was good ones, important ones.
So now you've got into that.
I mean, the only thing I want to add is that every friendly that we get, I just appreciate it, because so many of our friendlies have been cancelled. So many of them have been cancelled, or we play against teams that I guess aren't as good on a football basis. But Bosnia are a good team. Yes, they didn't play their first team, but even still, it's decent. They're not bad. Whereas other countries such as Saudi Arabia, they get top sort of friendlies. So any friendly that we get, I'm grateful for, because it's a chance for players to show themselves, a chance for formations to get tested, and I'm just very thankful for them.
Exactly, I agree. And another question, just I'll answer it myself because it's basically the same point as you guys made. Comes from Simon Paris on Instagram. She asks, has Skocic been lucky at these two games? Has he been lucky with these two games, or does it seem promising? So has he been lucky to win both? For me, no. I think he's done it well. I think he deserved it. I think Hashemian's helped him a lot as well. Credit to this camp. The final question comes from Kayvon Saramadi. His tag is K_Saramadi on Twitter. He asks, why would players like Kanani, Khalilzadeh, Amiri play when you have Majid Hosseini and Mehdi Qaidi? So I'm assuming he's an Esteghlal fan. Why is Nehmati on the bench? Basically he's saying, is there too many Persepolis players being called up over Esteghlal players?
Very common question. It always gets asked, doesn't it? I mean, I don't think either side will be happy if one side gets more called up than the other one. I mean, it's just always a debate, isn't it? So there's no point really saying anything on it.
I know Pejman has his points. Look, the thing is, right? If you're playing good, you should be called up. It's simple as that. Okay, Kanoni and Kayazade are doing good. They got to the ACL final. They deserve it. RF Golami got called up from Esteghlal. He's a centre back. He's done well. He got called up. Why is Majid Hosseini not playing? Because he's on the bench for Trabzonspor. Doesn't deserve it. Simple as that. Why is Amiri playing instead of Qaidi? I think Amiri played this game because we needed to press. I don't think Qaidi gives you the press and the physicality, so that's why he started. And Nemati on the squad. For me, Nemati is he's pretty crap, so I'm not happy with him being called up, but it is what it is.
Keeping it real. Audio.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Gol Bezan. Be sure to listen to us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and also SoundCloud. We're on SoundCloud as well. Obviously, you can follow us from Pejman, Arya, and me, Sina. My own podcast, if you want to listen, is The Millennial Entrepreneur. And yeah, the next games will be Hong Kong, Cambodia, then Bahrain and Iraq in June, and we'll be sure to talk about them as well. So thank you, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Hi, this is Kat, and you're listening to Gol Bezan, and I hope you continue listening to their amazing podcast. Thank you all for the support. Love you, Gol Bezan.